Welcome to today's edition of Corporate Learning Dialogues, a YouTube channel program sponsored by Unichemia. Unichemia is an organization based in Madrid, Spain, dedicated to professional development in business management. In Unichemia, we have the conviction that continuous training of professionals in organizations must be transformed at the pace of new technological opportunities by changes in the environment. We work to create unbeatable learning experiences that foster the growth of professionals at the forefront, capable of converting knowledge into effective organizational skills to face corporate challenges in an environment of constant change. Today, we have the fortune of having our guest, Nicholas Yeager, as our guest. Nick is currently Senior Technical Program Manager at Google in New York City. He was a Cisco Certified Network Associate from 2010 to 2013. He has been with Google since he graduated from Penn State Berks in 2010 with a Bachelor of Science degree in Information Sciences and Technology. And Nick states in his LinkedIn profile that technology rules my world. I'm interested in every aspect of technology, from client devices to server and technology. I'm constantly trying to find the best way to integrate cutting-edge technology into my life and the lives of the people I support. That's a very strong statement. I like it. Welcome to our program, Nick. So I go with my first question. What is it like to work for Google? Could you give us an overview of your duties? This is a kind of a dream job for a lot of people, and particularly because Google states as their mission to organize the world's information and make it universally accessible and useful. I'm actually a victim of that mission because I'm a Google freak. So Nick, there you go.
Perfect. Well, thank you for having me. Yeah, so what is it like to work for Google? This is very interesting. As you mentioned, I've been at Google for quite some time, ever since I graduated. My first real passion about Google came when I was in high school, when I think Google Gmail was launched in 2004 or something like that. And ever since I started using Gmail, it was like a revolutionary email service at the time. It was really a cool product. And back in those early days, Google was a really wacky, progressive company. And it just resonated with me from their, the products that they released, like Gmail and Maps, to the fun April Fool's Day things that they did. They just had a lot of interesting ideas. And then all of this kind of capped off in 2006 when I was in my AP Econ class. We did a stock market simulator with Google, or with just companies around the world. And I chose Google as the stock market, or the stock that I wanted to trade. And I got very lucky and became very wealthy in a fictional high school setting with fake money from investing in Google at that time. So that just demonstrated to me that Google was on this really awesome journey, and I really wanted to be a part of that. And then I joined Penn State Berks in 2006. I was working with the university at the help desk, and one of my friends there, his sister was working at the Google at the time in California, and she was visiting New York and actually asked if we wanted to tour the New York City office. So that was my first experience actually getting on site with Google. And ever since I came to New York in 2008 to see the Google campus here, I was convinced I need to work for Google. Like, this is a dream company. From seeing the micro kitchens overflowing with M&Ms and Legos everywhere, it was a really awesome experience. And I just told myself, this is what I have to do. So that dream of working for Google came to reality. I was in the Bay Area in 2009 doing an internship with Cisco. And I told myself, well, I'm already at Cisco. I'm already here physically next to Google's mothership or headquarters. I should really just try to see if I could get an internship at Google. So one thing led to the next. I got very lucky. I ended up landing an internship with Google in summer of 2009 and summer of 2010, the next summer as well. And then I converted to a full-time employee in January of 2011 in the Washington, D.C. office. So that was my journey getting to Google. It's been a wild ride, to say the least. what an incredible journey and an awesome company to work for. What they say is true. And if you watch that movie, The Internship, there's a lot of things that resonate with that movie. That was the movie that was released 5 or 6 years ago with folks depicting what it's like to work at Google. It is like a bubble sometimes. The perks are good. They expect hard work, of course, like any company, but there's lots of great rewards that come with that as well.
Wow, impressive. Now you reminded me that my daughter, Alejandra, who was working for Motorola, and Google bought Motorola in Chicago. And she was in Google for about 2 years. And we did go and visit her at the Google campus in Chicago. And it was exactly as you described it. So what are the most significant challenges that you face working with the people you support?
Yeah, it's a great question. Google has grown significantly. I remember when I started at the company, I think in 2009 as an intern, we had like 25,000 employees. Fast forward to today, with our extended workforce, there's almost 400,000 people working at Google, which is just a number that's almost unimaginable to me, especially over that 10-year period or 11-year period that I've been here. And this includes folks all over the world. We're such a global company. And in my role, what's really interesting is we're trying to create this sort of paradigm shift in computing, changing the way our employees get their work done, focusing more reliant on the cloud to get their work done. And so a lot of the stuff that I'm doing is trying to introduce changes to the way people work, the way they do their job, how they interact with the technology at our workplace. And with any change, sometimes people aren't always as receptive to change. They want to do things the way they're accustomed to doing things. So for me, what's really interesting is in the role that I am in, I'm almost in a way having to treat our employees, my colleagues, as customers, just as Google would treat the customers it's trying to win over in the industry. A lot of the work I do is trying to get our employees at Google onto Google Cloud, our own cloud. So it's almost like, in a sense, I am trying to sell our product internally that we sell to external customers to our colleagues. So it's pretty interesting. It's a good challenge, I would say. It shows that people are very progressive in their thinking. We're making great success in what we're working on and promoting our own internal cloud. And what's cool about this is we're almost on this mission to, if we can promote the things that we build for the public, right, Google Cloud internally, and show that we're able to successfully use this product internally, that only means better success and better chances for this in the industry as well. So it's super exciting.
Wow. You know, when I read your declaration of being a technology-minded individual, and then, you know, introducing cutting-edge technology into my life and the lives of the people I support, and that I perceived as a very customer-driven statement. Very, very nice. You have had an ascending career in Google. Could you share with us what are the main milestones in your professional development?
Yeah, absolutely. I see a couple of things here for me. You know, first off was truly landing the internship at Google. I think that paved the way for everything else. My internship actually started in support. So it's interesting what you just mentioned about having a customer-centric mindset. Because I started in support, even at Penn State. When I worked at the university, I worked at the help desk. So I always had a support mindset for folks in helping people out. And of course, as with anybody in IT, we're always our family's support person. So I've had a support background for as long as I could remember. When I started at Google as an intern for 2 summers, I was in a support position, and then I got hired on full-time in 2011 in Washington, D.C. to actually lead the entire support experience of Washington, D.C. So for me, milestone 1 was really getting the internship at Google, and then milestone 2 was becoming a full-time employee. I was in Washington, D.C. for about 2 years, but I knew I didn't always want to do support. I wanted to figure out what was next. I didn't quite know what was next at the time. And this opportunity fell into my lap, I guess you could say. In 2012, there was a position that Google was creating to essentially figure out how to find the best cutting edge technology on the market and bring it to Googlers, our employees, to make them productive. So it literally matches what I'm passionate about, what I have listed on my LinkedIn. I got super lucky to be able to be offered an opportunity to build a team focused around how do we make people productive with technology. So I did that. I focused on that for over 8 years, basically providing Googlers with the best tools to help them have the most productive working experience. Whether that's figuring out what type of workstations we're offering them so they could compile their code faster, more efficiently, to visual technologies for graphics designers and things like that. That was my mission, to make people as productive as possible with technology. And then the boom of cloud computing happened in around like the 2010s or so. So with that boom of cloud computing, my next mission and what I'm currently focused on is how could we use Google Cloud Platform, GCP, to the platform that we sell to customers all over the world. How could we use that platform internally? How can we be a customer of ourselves, run Google on Google, to allow our employees to use our own internal cloud platform to get their jobs done? And that's exactly what I'm focused on now and today. Wow,
amazing. So your growth has been mostly internally. You know, I was curious about what kind of training you had outside of Google, but I can see that there's enough within Google to keep you busy.
Absolutely.
Yeah. How do you envision the future of talent development in a highly competitive working environment, in highly competitive working environments?
Absolutely. Yeah, this is actually somewhat tricky. I stand by a very critical concept that I try to instill in all the folks that I mentor, and the like, from interns to new employees, to even the folks that I interview. I think it really comes down to being passionate about what you do. With the access to education, high quality educations that are all over the world today, nearly everyone can lock down the skills necessary to do a job, right? But being passionate about what you do, it's contagious both for yourself and for everyone around you. I've been very lucky to personally be able to work on things that interest me. When you can work on something that you're passionate about, that you can speak excitedly about, it just leads to better outcomes and success. I think the most successful people that you talk to, they have that spark when they wake up in the morning to do something they love, right? It's not just going to a job. It's what is the challenge today? What am I going to get to do today? Who am I going to interact with? And how am I going to be able to make a difference in their lives? Like I said, for me, I've always tried to find opportunities at Google or in everything that I do to be able to work on things that really, really excite me. And I really think that helped me excel. So what I'd say is work on things that are really interesting to you. It just leads to that drive, to that fire to want to do that much better of a job. Being interested, holding yourself to a higher bar. One of the things that I'm passionate about is Google is filled with some of the most brilliant people that I've ever met in my life, from the inventors of programming languages to Larry and Sergey, who invented Google search. Like, these are things that help define the world. And there's such an access to information and talent, and you don't always need to be the smartest person in the room or have the most technical knowledge in the world. If you can hold a conversation, if you could show genuine, true interest and spark, people are excited to work with you, and that opens up so many doors. So I truly believe being passionate about what you do is very, very critical. And in a market that is saturated with access to infinite knowledge and wisdom and education, the thing to really set yourself apart is having that energy and spark.
So the way I read what you're saying is that if you're passionate about what you're doing and you're a hard worker, talent development will come to you. You know, it's like, and then it'll be like an excellent circle, you know, where
exactly
where you're passionate, you're dedicated, you're a hard worker, and then your supervisors will look at you and say, "Oh, this guy, push him up."
Yep.
Wow. Well, this is another question. Experts in the IT field, in the information technology field, claim that we're moving in an accelerated manner to the convergence of cloud computing, artificial intelligence, data analytics, IoT, Web3, blockchain, metaverse, NFTs, and others. How do you envision the future in that regard?
Yeah, this is super interesting. This is really this is what makes me think of like sci-fi novels and what you read and what you read about previously of the future, right? And I think all of this is spot on. Just the other day, actually, I think last week, I heard an interesting quote from Tim Cook, CEO of Apple. And he mentioned that in the future, people won't be able to comprehend how we were able to survive without AR, augmented reality, right? This is a thing that's coming out. You know, technology is, first of all, I think I truly agree with that statement. Technology is really ever present in our lives today. It's more accessible than it's ever been. Things are getting miniaturized and so much smaller and easier to use and carry around. And that's all helping to enrich our lives in ways we really couldn't imagine a decade or so ago, right? To me, the cloud is the technology that's really the backbone enabling this convergence to happen. It all has to happen somewhere, and the cloud is what's enabling that. And I think that's only going to continue to accelerate. AR, I see, is our supplemental friend, if you will, that's going to inform us of things instantaneously that would have been previously out of reach. I mean, we're going to be able to access this information instantaneously thanks to AR, maybe projected right onto our eyes. It's really wild to think, but we're getting so close to that. And then you think about IoT, Internet of Things, sensors, the analytics that come with those sensors and that data, and then AI being able to be the tool or the platform that takes all of that information in, processes it, and gives us predictions for things that previously weren't possible, right? And then to me, like you think about things like the metaverse, and it's in my opinion, the metaverse is truly a way that is going to enable new interactions with people, places, services that we were only able to dream of a couple years ago. So all of this is converging. It's all tying together. I think the cloud is the backbone of that, like I said. And to me, it feels like we're in some sci-fi progressive novel. And I mean, I'm excited to see what's on the next page.
Wow, exciting. So, but it sounds like in Google, this is the kind of environment that you're in. I mean, you're watching all these technologies come together, and you're pushing for them to be together, and like you said earlier, to enhance productivity of your people, and of course, the performance of Google as a company. Wow.
Yeah, absolutely. I think the convergence here is what's really fascinating, right? Like all of these technologies already exist in some form or incarnation. The convergence of bringing them all together, I think, is going to be the truly powerful moment that enables all of these new experiences and doors to open.
Wow, Nick, I want to be in your dream job. I mean, so this is my last question, and how do you keep the technological institutional memory? I mean, this is like I mean, what you just described that is happening in Google is it takes a lot of people. You know, you're talking about 400,000 employees. So, you know, what happens is if all of a sudden you have a pandemic of the big quit, you know, like everybody quits, what happens to the institutional memory? Does it so the institutional memory, does it reside in the individuals or in the corporation? And if so, what is the corporation? This is a thought-provoking question. So, you know, I'm
a very interesting one indeed, for sure. And it's a super tough question. My first thought is that information and knowledge always finds a way. We're always trying to find new ideas and ways to grow. I think sometimes we need to accept that institutional memory is fluid and travels with people. I'm a firm believer. In everything that I do, I'm not always the fastest at things because I have this motto of write everything down, whether that's interactions I have with people or notes that I take about interesting things I've heard or I've read. I think that good documentation can really take you far. And if you look back, this is maybe a little bit silly, but think about the Library of Alexandria that burned down in 48 BC. This is where the human knowledge was kept for years, for generations, and the library was set on fire, and hundreds of years, generations were lost in this fire. This was like knowledge of how we do the most basic things to how we create things, and we're still here today, right? Like all of this human knowledge was lost back then at that point, but knowledge finds a way, information finds a way. We as a human race rebuilt and kept on. I think sometimes you can't control the information and knowledge that exists in someone's head, right? They're free to do with it what you want or what they want, but sometimes that's okay. Knowledge moving, the fluidity of knowledge moving around is what leads to the diversity of ideas. It's what leads to new ideas being introduced. And I think it's important to try to preserve as much of that as possible. But sometimes we need this fluidity, this loss to be able to grow and pursue new things and even groundbreaking ideas. I almost equate it to, think of a person in a job that they're just comfortable. They're not chasing anything new or groundbreaking. They have the knowledge they need, a base level of knowledge to do their job. And that's what sustains them, right? But sometimes it's getting into a brand new environment where there is no knowledge or information, or you're transitioning yourself as a micro example of this. You're transitioning yourself to a new job where you have no knowledge, no institutional knowledge, nothing that's been tried before. And it forces you to be creative and have that spark and try new things and create new ideas and be creative to pave the way for something that's to come. So yeah, it's very interesting indeed. I think it's we need to preserve knowledge as much as possible, but it's not always a bad thing to get into uncharted territories and have a lack of knowledge, or even a loss of knowledge in some cases.
That's a very interesting notion of lack of knowledge, of lack of information, of loss of information will lead you to be creative and create new opportunities. I'm just thinking that I'm rereading the mission of Google. Our mission is to organize the world's information and make it universally accessible and useful. And I'm suggesting that maybe you want to add world's information and knowledge. You just set it up. So I'm quoting you. But well, this is fascinating, Nick. I just want to, on behalf of Unicamia, I want to thank you for the opportunity to chat with you. I'm thinking that we could have an endless conversation, but we promised 20 minutes. So here we are. So I want to thank you for the opportunity and express my gratitude to you. And I'm looking forward to seeing Nicholas Yeager at the top of Google one day. All right. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.